Morning, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome all the members and affiliates who are joining us here today. It's a special treat for us to be able to have Stephen Thomas here to provide us with a housing update. For those of you who are not familiar with Stephen Thomas, his reports on housing was started in 2004 as a way to communicate with buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals were experiencing, or what real estate professionals were experiencing in the trenches, tracking demand, inventory, stress homes, and market data at both the county and city levels. Stephen Thomas, a California real estate broker with decades of real estate experience and a degree in quantitative economics and decision sciences from the University of California, developed reports on housing and is considered an expert in real estate housing trends. Reports on housing has been utilized and quoted by the Orange County Register, Los Angeles Times, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, USA Today, Bloomberg, Fortune Magazine, Orange County and Los Angeles business journals, ABC, CBS, NBC television reporters, Cox Cable Television, KNX 1070, KFI AM 640, blogs and internet news sites, resulting in newspaper, television, and radio appearances. If you have any questions, I ask that you please use the Q&A section. And once Stephen has gone through his presentation, and if time allows, we will try and address as many questions as we can. Stephen, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And I always look forward to putting together these meetings for North San Diego County Realtors, and maybe someday we'll be able to actually do them in person.
Okay, that is a hope.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I will share my screen. Lot to cover. Lots going on in this housing market, and I've got to turn on my clicker. First, a few fun photos. I always start off my economic presentations with some fun photos because before we get into all of the charts and data and stats, it's always good to smile a little bit. And my 2021 real estate year in review, 5 million in total volume, 45 homes sold, 10,000 offers written, 65 happy clients, 750 wine glasses chugged, and 500 panic attacks. This has to be my real estate guardian angel. We'd like to submit an offer on the property we saw 2 weeks ago. Fantastic, get in. And what do you mean best and final by 7 p.m.? My showing is at 6:30. Or how listing agents look at all buyer's agents in this market. Bring me your highest and best peasants. All I said was I need a realtor to sell my house. Yeah, the real estate market, 2020, 2021, 2022. Who knew? And so my introduction, quantitative economic decision sciences major from UC San Diego, the beautiful school right there in La Jolla. 30 years in the business, Orange County native, Capital Valley High School grad, 9 kids. And these are our kids. I brought the 6 on the right. My wife brought the 2 on the left. I adopted hers. She adopted mine, 2 upper left. And then we had this guy. He turned 4 last week ago today. And yes, we actually the one next to my wife just got married, so we have another kid in the family. So we've been all over the press, as Lisa was talking about, and our company's Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. It's all about driving home strength back to you, the agent or lender. It really boils down to there's power in data and stats, and everybody has an opinion, and there's plenty out there on that you can Google on the internet, YouTube. There's video blogs that are devoted to talking about the housing market, but they don't have enough of the facts and data and stats. And so there's strength to being able to refute that with the reports that we provide. And our reports are designed, we don't really talk that much about closed sales data because that's not really enables you to set expectations for buyers and sellers and ourselves. Instead, we're looking at the windshield, and we're looking at the available number of homes to show that is supply. And then demand is just a snapshot of the last 30 days of escrow activity. So we look at the same time frame, 30 days over time, to show us what demand looks like. And we can compare that same snapshot right now to where we were a month ago, to where we were 2 weeks ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago. So it really gives us a benchmark of where we're at right now. And then from the supply and demand, we're able to come up with the expected market time. Place your home on the market, pound in that for sale sign. When are we opening up escrow? And that's pretty much the going question. That's what everybody wants to know. So our reports are used for presentations, listing presentation, buyer consultations, getting price reductions. That will come down the road, especially if we stay at these elevated higher interest rates for a period of time. And it's also to get buyers off the fence, stop talking about buying at the height and worried about getting burned. It's about just setting expectations so you can close more transactions. That is really what it's all about. So we have reports that dot all over Southern California, LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego. LA and Orange County and San Diego get their reports this week, and then San Bernardino, Riverside County get theirs next week. And so far, these are what the reports have looked like. Unprecedented start. This one came out at the very start of the year. I thought 2013 was a difficult, challenging year with very little inventory and a very crazy market. Then last year beat that. And then this year is even hotter than it was last year. And we'll get into what those numbers look like. Rising rates versus no inventory. So there's been this tug of war between rising rates and no inventory. And that is why the market still is hot, even with higher rates. Going, gone. This is one we did 2 weeks ago. This is about the auction-like atmosphere that we're dealing with today, setting expectations for buyers and sellers as to how to maneuver in this kind of a situation where just about everything sells like an auction. And the one I'm putting it like this because we're still designing it. I just finished it this last night. It's Will It Slow in 2022? And it really depends, and I'll get into what it depends on momentarily. This is me. I'm the geek. I'm a nerd. I'm a quantitative economics and decision sciences nerd. I'm a housing analyst. This is what I like to do. And I invite you to go to reportsonhousing.com and tap into the nerd, because I geek out on this stuff and I want to make it so that you understand what's going on, and everybody all your clients, family, friends understand as well. So go to reportsonhousing.com, click on subscribe. It's $15 per month or $150 per year. And you get a month free if you utilize the coupon code North County. And that's just for you guys, North County. And so where are rates headed? That is the big question. This is actually taken live this morning, a snapshot of where the 10-year Treasury is. And a lot of people talk about the 10-year Treasury, and if you're ever wondering why we talk about the 10-year Treasury when we're talking about rates, it's because the appetite for the 10-year Treasury closely mirrors the appetite for 30-year mortgages. So if the 10-year Treasury goes up, typically 30-year mortgages go up. When the 10-year Treasury falls, the 30-year mortgage rates that we deliver fall. And you can see this is where we are at right now. And basically, at the beginning of the year, we skyrocketed. And that was for the first 3 weeks, we skyrocketed. And then it went flat for a while. And then it skyrocketed again. And the first skyrocket was due to the Fed. Then it went flat. The second skyrocket was due to the fact that we had a jobs report that beat expectations. And then we had inflation that came in higher than what everybody's expectations were, which both of those mean that the economy is hotter than what everybody anticipated. And you get a spike in 10-year Treasury and interest rates. But more recently, it's been a little flat, and we need to wait for the next shoe to drop, the next big economic signpost that comes down the road, whether it be a jobs report, whether it be retail sales, whether it be something that either beats or doesn't quite hold up to what we've done in the past. So we'll have to wait and see. Right now it's flat. It's come down a little bit over like the last week from its heights, and the reason for that is because of what's happening in Russia. But so that does have an effect on the 10-year Treasury. But even though they annexed or took over this little area right now, there was a small portion of the country that they took. I thought the 10-year Treasury would drop more than it did, and it's kind of been staying right here, right under 2%. So as far as interest rates are concerned, so we started off December 23rd with interest rates at 3.05%, and this came out on Thursday. This is the Freddie Mac primary mortgage market survey that goes back 51 years. This is 1 point and 20% down. So the reason that it's 1 point and 20% down in this is because that's what you had to do back in the day. So in order to compare apples to apples and see where we are in compared to history, it's 1 point, 20% down. Now, a lot of people don't like to pay points. If you don't like to pay points and you're putting less than 20% down, you're looking at an interest rate that's typically 0.25% higher than what the primary mortgage market survey comes out with. But nonetheless, we've had interest rates that have popped, and you can see the pop, then you can see it flat, then you can see it pop, and this next one that comes out on Thursday is going to be flat. And until we see the next shoe to drop, like I was talking about. This is where we started COVID-19. But if I draw a line across, it dates all the way back to May of 2019. That is where our interest rates are right now. It predates COVID, and yet we still have this massive amount of demand. And we'll get into that in a minute. But mortgage rates have been off the races so far in 2022. If you see this, it is the strongest rise in interest rates that we've seen in over 12 years. And this goes back to 2011. We have not seen anything like this where we get a giant run in rates so early in the year. So know that this is a little bit of an unprecedented start to the year. And you're wondering what in the world happened? Well, a lot of it has to do with the Fed. And it's because they looked at their inflation transitory language that they had, and they changed it in November to not transitory. And that was the big thing. At very first, when we first went into this did look like it was transitory because of supply chain issues. But the more that they peeled back the onion, the more that you could tell that the supply chain issues were here to stay, and it was going to take a long time to unwind. Thus, we're having this issue with inflation that is not transitory, which means it's not temporary. And you see, this is the consumer price index that came out that I talked about that it beat what everybody was expecting. It was exceeded, and it was at 7.5% for inflation. This is CPI. Core inflation was at 5.5%. You remember the Federal Reserve likes 2%. This is way hotter than where the Federal Reserve likes to be. And producer price index came out, and it too was really, really high. And a lot of people think that, oops, I forgot to show you this thing, but people thought it was money that was juiced into the economy, and which it was. That was initially, that is what created a lot of spending, which allowed, which created, since there was a lot of consumption, inventories fell, and that was part of inflation because of how hot retail sales were. Now, but no longer. Now, personal savings accounts are about where they were prior to COVID starting, so that's no longer the thing. Right now, I think it is because people have refinanced their homes at rates where they're saving so much on a monthly basis that they have extra discretionary cash on a monthly basis for spending, and that is why we're seeing this this beat that continues to be a beat for retail sales. Retail sales were following a trend line, and now it's a different trend line. It's hotter than where it was prior to COVID, and that is because we've all refinanced into these low rates. Now, the Fed realizes that they're behind the 8 ball, and they want to do something about it. So they are enacting a hurry up offense. They want to do everything in their power. They realize they're behind, and they're hoping that they can throw that Hail Mary pass and slow down inflation, but not throw us into an eventual recession. And what they're committed to doing is this Fed rate hike. We've heard about it. This Fed rate hike comes next month, and it's about a month from now. It will be announced that we have the first Fed rate hike, and it's going to be as high as 0.5%. But understand that those are not 30-year mortgage rates. I would be surprised if 30-year mortgage rates even moved a millimeter after they make the announcement that they're going to do a 0.5% increase. Fed fund rate is a short-term rate. It's what is tied to the short-term rate are automobile loans, credit card debt, equity lines of credit. It's short-term debt. It's not 30-year mortgages. 30-year mortgages, we've already had our big change at the beginning of this year. Everything that the Fed has talked about that they're going to do has already impacted 30-year mortgages. They've also talked about Fed tapering, and that is where they were doing $40 billion per month buying mortgage-backed securities. Remember, the federal government guarantees loans up to a certain dollar amount for conventional loans, and it goes to the secondary market. They're packaged as mortgage-backed securities, and then the secondary market, normal investors purchase them. But the Fed has been purchasing them like crazy at the tune of $40 billion per month, every single month. So they've started to unwind that last year, and it's down to $10 billion this month. It'll be zero next month. So they will have tapered back. But the problem is now there's this other thing called the Fed balance sheet. This was the big change why all of a sudden at the beginning of this year, you saw this big change in the 10-year, and we saw 30-year mortgage rates rise. And that is because they said that they wanted to drain their balance sheet. What happens when those mortgage-backed securities that they buy at they've been doing $40 billion per month for a very long time, and they did it during the Great Recession, so they have this giant balance sheet, and what they want to do is they want to unwind it. Well, what happens with mortgage-backed securities when they mature is they take these mortgage-backed securities and they were putting them right back in the system. So they were reinvesting all the money that they were getting back. As a matter of fact, it's between $60 and $70 billion per month on top of the $40 billion per month that they were doing, that they were reinvesting. So even though they're down to zero, they still are reinvesting at the tune of $60 to $70 billion per month. Now, last time after they did the taper they really started in 2014. It took them all the way till the end of 2017 to start to do this, where they stop reinvesting and they slow it down. That is where they drain the balance sheet. This time, they're going to do it almost immediately. My bet is that they're going to start in April, May, and there are some people that think it's going to happen in June. We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, it's going to happen really soon. So due to the fact that they changed what they did in the past, and now they're doing it a lot faster because of how inflation is out of control, all economists and all investors had to digest all of this, and that is why you saw this run in rates at the beginning of this year. So now that they're doing so much, and they've got this hurry up offense that they're doing, they're going to have to thread the needle to try to, they want to avert a recession. Now, a recession you're going to hear a lot of noise about recession right now. And let me tell you, first off, recession's nowhere close to happening anytime soon at all. I have 6 flags that I look for in order for us to call a recession. And basically, no flags are up right now. A couple of the flags are going to be flying very, very shortly. The recessionary flags that I try to follow, that I do follow, are federal funds rate. So as soon as the federal funds rate starts to be increased, that the Fed raises the short-term rate, when they start doing that, that's one of my flags. That's happening. That will occur next month. So 1 out of the 6 will be raised. A second one that will be raised is the unemployment rate drops below 4%. We were at 3.9%. So this was raised for a half a second. Then it was redone and it was brought to 4% because we had a lot of people that came back into the workforce and were looking for a job. Well, when they come back in the workforce, they're looking for a job and they don't have one. They are added the unemployment. So that's why it rose from 3.9% to 4%. It will start to continue to go down below 4%. And I imagine it's going to happen. We'll find out next week. Yes, the first week of March always comes out on a Friday. So another thing is the inverted yield curve, the 2s and the 10s. Know that we're not inverted. It is getting tighter, but it's not anywhere close yet to inverting. If there was an inversion, it wouldn't happen until the end of this year. And that typically says that we'll have a recession within a year, which would put us way off to the very, very end of 2023, if one at all comes. So this is a recessionary flag that's not even close yet. Another one is housing starts fall 2 quarters straight. This is new home housing starts. That's not even close to happening. We just had a gigantic housing start that was reported for the month of January. And then recessionary flags of leading economic indicators fall for 6 months straight. They have not fallen once yet. So this has to happen over time. This is not going to happen anytime soon also. And then retail sales drop and supplies spike due to weaker demand. See, if retail sales all of a sudden drop and Americans aren't spending and they don't pull out their wallets, that allows supplies to continue to increase and spike. We're nowhere close to that either. So you can see we're a ways off from recessions. The reason why you're going to hear about recessions is because Wall Street, there's a lot of pain in Wall Street right now. As a matter of fact, because of what's happening with Russia right now in Ukraine, we've already seen today Wall Street is down. And it could change any minute now. Like if all of a sudden Putin was deciding to sit down and he's going to talk peace talks and all that stuff, then we could get a reversal in it really quick. And then we have Wall Street go up. But know that Wall Street is very, very volatile this year. And there's so much volatility, and with the Fed and all that stuff, that they want the Fed to continue to do what they were doing because it was certainly helping out everybody that is investing on Wall Street. So, but that's not everybody that's out there. So they're not going to placate just to Wall Street. They're going to try to tamper down inflation. That is their number one goal right now. And understand that even if we have a recession, that does not mean that housing goes down. There's only been 2 out of the last 6 recessions. And remember, when we started this pandemic, we actually had a recession. So 2 out of the last 6 recessions did we even have values go down. And they were both caused by real estate. Savings and loan scandal of the 1990s. And then the Great Recession that started in 2007. And both of those were started, like I said, by housing, and they both involved a massive amount of people that lost their jobs. So when unemployment spikes, that is an issue. We are nowhere close to that happening. And so just understand that that's the unemployment scene is very, very strong right now. And interest rates we're going to have a hard time getting above 4%. We're right there, right at 4%, but it's very, very hard. I showed you that arrow where it's going to be flat. We need another shoe to drop. I don't foresee it happening. It's something that I'm kind of hoping that it goes to about 4.25%, and that will slow down our market, appreciate quite a bit. And I understand that slowing down our market is counterintuitive because that means that we're going to be doing fewer escrows. But it's really the only way economists, housing analysts are looking at it saying, how in the world can we slow this thing down? It's either prices get way out of hand to where they automatically slow down because values are way too high, or we have interest rates coming up enough where it slows things down for right now. And that's why you're hearing housing analysts say, yeah, we need a little bit higher interest rates so that we can slow this out of control housing market down a bit. We're not fueling any kind of a bubble. There's no cracks. There's not going to be a wave of foreclosures, all that stuff. It's just an unhealthy market. We'd like to see it slow down, but know that the lower the interest rate, the more the insane the housing market. That the higher the interest rate, we're still going to be in a seller's market. It's just you're going to have to be a lot more careful in pricing. These agents and these homeowners that overprice their property because they say that's what the market allows them to do. Those are the people that are going to accumulate on the market because they will not sell. They will have to be priced at that last comp. And if we stay at right where we are right now, interest rates are higher, that's where we could be later on in the year. So speaking of the housing market, yep, it is absolutely insane. And it all has to do with supply and demand. And know that prior to the Great Recession, we had a glut in supply. We had way too many homes on the market. And I could see it coming as early as 2005. So we were able to see it in the numbers really early. Now, we have the exact opposite problem right now. We have this shrinking housing supply, and now we have what I refer to as a supply catastrophe. It's beyond a supply crisis. It really is nothing in the fuel tank. There is nothing on the market right now, very few homes. It is at a low level that I thought I would never see. And it's like, you know, when you have your fingers crossed and you're hoping that you make it to the gas station to fuel up. And this is Altos research. This actually came out yesterday. He does the owner of Altos Research does a YouTube video every single Monday. And he shows you where the latest numbers are for the United States in terms of the number of homes that are available, and also goes over other stats. Well, you can see in 2021, we were at 307,000 homes on the market. That was April 30th. Now you can see today, as of this week, across the United States, we only have 247,842 homes. Know that we should be making our way soon towards 1 million. That's where a normal threshold is. You see that 1 million mark, you draw a line across, that's where we get to in the housing market. We're not going to get anywhere close to 1 million homes. And that is where a normal market is, which is like 4 times where we are today. So just to get to a more normal market where we still experienced a lot of appreciation and just not quite the robust appreciation that we have now. There is a seasonality of the market. We are following it this year for sure. Spring is the best, then it's summer, then it's autumn. This all has to do with when families want to move. And when do families want to move? Well, they place their home on the market during the spring. That is when we have the most homes come on the market in the months of May and June and April. May is number 1. And we also have the most amount of new escrow activity during spring. May is number 1. And that's because you place your home on the market during the spring. When do you want to close? In the summer, when the kids are out of school. Yeah, that's fine. So if you see my wife behind me, that's just because she needs to do something real quick. Isn't she cute? So then autumn is like the 3rd fastest market. Then we get to the holidays and winter. Winter is where we're at right now. This is where we say, hey, it's after Super Bowl. This is the best time to come on the market. And a lot of homeowners go, I'm not coming on the market right now. Why don't they want to come on the market right now? Because it's not spring. They want to come on the market during the spring. Spring doesn't even begin until about a month from now, the end of March. So with fewer homes coming on the market right now, the inventory is flat, yet demand continues to climb. So when you have demand climbing and the inventory flat, that's where the market gets hotter. And that's why we tell everybody, you should be coming on right now. And this happens every single year. And we say the same thing after every Super Bowl. So San Diego County, the number of homes coming in the market, the 3-year average prior to COVID, 2017 through 2019. I'm showing you this so you see when more homes typically come on the market. May is number 1. Number 2 is June. Number 3 is actually August. Number 4 is July. And number 5 is April. Now, and number 6 is March. There's a lot of counties that are much different than this. I don't understand why San Diego County's number 3 is all the way in August, because you place your home on the market in August, the kids are going back to school. It really does mean that you can get that you're going to have a lot of people that don't find success because too many people are coming on the market towards after the kids go back to school. Really, we need to convince everybody to place their home on the market when buyers want to move. And you can see actually, can't you see January and February? These are slower months. February is actually number 10. January was strong, and then February you don't have as many homes come on the market. That's for San Diego County. The San Diego County supply looks like this. If I draw a line across, you can see we're at ludicrous levels for San Diego. This is just absolutely ridiculous, the number of homes that are not available right now. If you see, this is where we're dancing around. This was on Thursday, last Thursday. We were very close to, a little over 1,620 homes on the market. That was up 6% or just 92 homes in a 2-week period of time. The lowest reading or level ever was January 1st at 1,254. We were at a low on April 1st, and then we kept on going lower at the end of the year, and we started off the year with the lowest I'd ever seen. 1,254 for all of San Diego County is absolutely ridiculous. I live in Orange County. we got to 954 homes on the market. That is the most ridiculous number that I've ever seen for Orange County as well. So you can understand Orange and Los Angeles County got to 4,500, also a all-time low for Los Angeles County. So you can see all along the coast, we hit these all-time lows. And last year at this time, let's see, high video panel. Okay, last year we were at 2,286. That's 40% higher than where we are today. And the 3-year average is 5,469. That is 236% higher than where we are today, which means more than triple where we are today. So you can understand where we need to be right now is making our way towards about 5,500 homes on the market, yet we have just over 1,600 homes on the market today. It's like right now we're having a hard time building the inventory because everything that comes on goes right into escrow because there's all these buyers that are sitting waiting for more homes to come on the market, yet there aren't that many homes that come on the market right now. And if you see, this is where we're probably going to go. It's going to be flat until we get to around spring, right, in April, and then we'll see this rise as more homes come on the market. Now, if interest rates are to go up just slightly from where they are today, and by the way, we will peak right here between July and September, or the end of August. So that's typically where the peak is. Now, what will happen is if we get interest rates that are a little bit higher, we'll actually get the inventory to start rising. And I'll explain that phenomenon. It's really demand. As interest rates rise, demand will start to fall because they will be rising to a point where they're starting to get a bit high. And you'll see some buyers back off. When there's enough buyers that back off, it allows some of these overpriced homes to accumulate on the market, because then buyers start honing in and saying, I don't want to pay extra because this doesn't feel right. And that is where we could ultimately go if we get to about 4.25% interest rates. And then we go even further and we will finally have more inventory than last year for the first time in like 3 years, because we've had less inventory than the prior year for about 3 years now. And where are all the homes? Well, if I take a look at the number of homes coming on the market compared to prior to COVID, 2017 through 2019, that 3-year average, for the years 2020 and 2021 combined, it was missing 12%. Or 12,812 homes. That's how many homes were missing in San Diego County. The only county that fared worse than this was San Bernardino County, off 14%. And like Orange County is off 7%, and LA is off 5%. So San Diego County off 12%, missing nearly 13,000 for sale signs. Now in January alone, this happened across Southern California, and I thought it might have a little bit to do with Omicron, but I don't think that that's quite it. We were off 30% compared to the 3-year average. We were missing 1,316 for sale signs. It's the most missing sale signs since April 2020. That was that month where we had 50% fewer homes come on the market during the month of April because we just started COVID and we were in the midst of a lockdown. That is what happened in the month of January. And then I looked at February for the first 2 weeks of February, and we're off by 25%, missing 517 homes. And I was sitting there going, something is going on. For it to happen during the first 2 weeks of February, it's no longer Omicron, because things have definitely changed in as far as Omicron having a grip on the state of California and the rest of the United States. So really, the number one thing that is keeping the inventory down is, where will I go? We got to such an acute level of 1,254 homes on the market in San Diego County that it really became a problem of, where on earth am I going to go? Because if I am a seller, what do I instantly become in like 1 week? A buyer. And that presents a problem. Now you have to go participate in everything that you've heard about and the auction-like atmosphere, and hope and keep your fingers crossed that you find a place. Because what people don't want to become is homeless, where they have to go live in a motel or a hotel, or live with the in-laws or mom and dad, that type of thing. That's just a lot for people to take on. So instead they say, hey, you know what? I'm more than happy just sitting back, kicking back, watching my equity rise, because they know that this whole entire time there have been rising home prices. At the same time, they also feel, hey, you know what? No big deal. I have a really low rate and my mortgage is just fantastic. And at the same time, now we have rising mortgage rates. So we have these rising mortgage rates, and which means that if they sold and they need to buy something new, now they got to go get a higher mortgage rate. And when they start doing the math, it's preventing a lot of homeowners from placing their homes on the market. As a matter of fact, I had to dust off this slide. This is one that I've used before, and it's called Prisoners of Our Own Home. You can see those are wooden bars. You can kind of break them in an instant, but you get the idea that we're prisoners in our home because of the home, because of our loans are so good. They're so good. It's no longer, I'm in love with my home. I'm in love with my loan. So many people are not going to be moving because they have such a great rate that they don't want to move. But I don't want everybody to feel sorry for this homeowner. It's not anything to feel sorry for. It's just they might not be able to move. And these homeowners all have bought, if you see this on the right-hand side, this is the left-hand side is prior to the Great Recession. The right-hand side is the vast majority of everybody has excellent credit scores that are purchasing properties, or they purchase with all cash. So there are which means that they have good credit scores, they have good jobs, they're not going anywhere. They just have a really good rate that's keeping them locked in their homes. As a matter of fact, they also have a ton of homeowners equity. It is absolutely at an all-time record low, and it's done on the backs of it being very, very hard to qualify for a loan, compared to that little Himalaya in the middle. That was prior to the Great Recession, where dogs and dead people were able to get loans, and people use adjustable rate mortgages, 0% down financing. That's not even going on right now. The vast majority of everybody, 90%, have fixed rate mortgages. Nobody's going anywhere anytime soon, and their jobs are good, their credit scores are fine, so they're just not moving. San Diego County demand has been like this. This actually was somebody from Carlsbad sent me this picture and said, hey, look at this open house. But it's also been like showing a house. I've heard that showing a house, there's a line to get in as well right now, that it's been very, very challenging to get enough people through. It's like, please take a number. And it had been these very, very low interest rates, right? That was the fuel that created this bonanza. But now we have a different problem right now. It's no longer low rates because we have low rates. It is what I refer to as the scarcity of goods. Kind of like at the very beginning of the pandemic, when we had the scarcity of toilet paper, I would have paid an extra $20 for a Costco roll of toilet paper when we first went in this pandemic, because there were just too few. There was just not enough toilet paper available. And my family did end up going to my father-in-law and mother-in-law's pizza place that they own. And we got this giant roll of industrial commercial grade toilet paper for our family because that's all we could get. So, and the scarcity exists in cars. You could see it with new cars. We are actually making more cars, and cars are coming back onto the scene. However, if you go to a dealership, there's still nothing at the dealership. And that is a scarcity of product. And that's an inventory issue that was made bad by COVID. So COVID made everything. It impacted just about everything in economics land. And now there's a market adjustment fee where below the MSRP, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, is this market adjustment fee. And that's a COVID fee. That is this fee because there's not enough cars on the lot, and they're charging you anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000, somebody told me, for a Mercedes, an extra $15,000 fee for a Mercedes Benz. So, and know that there are new government loan limits as well. And for the new government loan limit is $647,200, but in San Diego County, the high balance is $879,750. So this has allowed more demand because of the fact that we have these new loan limits. As a result of the way that the market is right now, with very few homes on the market, the scarcity of goods, we have an auction-like atmosphere where just about everything is selling for over asking. And if you see, this is January's California Association of Realtors numbers. And if you see this, 57.3% is the number of homes, the percentage of homes across California that sold above their asking price. And this is about par for where it was in San Diego County too. I think you guys were at 55% of all closings in January. But as we go forward, realize it was as high as 71.4%. It got above 70% in May, June, and July of last year. It's going to start to rise again right now because of this real scarcity. And now that we're getting into the meat of the market, people are competing, and this does this every year. This little going up and going down. Now that we're January and February, March is one of those months where it starts to really start to rise, the sales above list price ratio. And know that the median time on the market is 12 days. This will start to drop from 12 days. It was the lowest number ever was July of last year at 7 days. And that's what we're going to make our way back towards. 101.2% is the sales to list price ratio across California. That's 1.2% on average above the list price. And know that the height was 102.3 in July of last year. And as far as demand, remember this is the last 30 days worth of escrow activity, a little snapshot. Last week, 2,541, up 6% or up 134 pending sales. Do you see what happened in San Diego County? Because of the acute fewer number of homes coming on market, because you have plenty of buyers, it is starting to affect the number of escrows. And because there are so few homes coming in the market, you really feel like there's a lot of competition out there because you have all these buyers, very few homes, and it's starting to show in the number of escrows because of the lack of properties coming on. Last year at this time, we were at 3,130. That was 23% higher than where we were last year. You guys, San Diego County was one of those that you were underperforming because you were having a problem placing homes in the market last year. And this year, the problem has grown even exponentially worse as far as the number of homes coming on. 3-year average is 3,052. That's 20% higher than where we are today, the 3-year average prior to COVID. So we are definitely have some room to grow, but we need more product on the shelves. So where are we going to go from here? We're probably going to follow right along that purple line. That's my guesstimate, is we're going to be right along that purple line, but come short of the red line. So we will have muted demand this year compared to last year. And know that if interest rates continue to rise a little bit from where they are today, and by the way, we peak in May, between middle of April to the end of May. That's where we're going to peak. Now, what happens if interest rates rise a little bit more? It will mute demand a little bit more, and we will continue to go until we get to about April, May, and then it'll flat line and we'll hit a peak and then it'll start to come down. So that's most likely what happens if we have rates rise. And you can imagine, so if demand starts to diminish, we'll have more inventory accumulate on the market. This only happens with higher rates. How fast is the market moving? It's moving pretty fast. On February 17th, last Thursday, it was at 19 days. This ties the all-time record that you guys hit on April 1st at 19 days. Also happened at the very end of December at 19 days. That's where you guys have been for 2 weeks prior at 19 days. It is stuck at this 19 days, and it's the lowest reading since tracking began is 19 days. This is really, really low. Know that anything below 60 days is what's referred to as a hot seller's market, and above that is slight. We'll get into that. But last year at this time, we were at 22 days, pretty similar to today. And a 3-year average is 55 days. 55 days is actually a hot seller's market. We have appreciation. It's just more of what we've been used to, about 5%, 6% appreciation per year versus this 19% appreciation per year. And this is what I was talking about. Below 60 is hot. Between 60 and 90, that is what's called a slight seller's market. Not a lot of appreciation. Sellers call the shots. Above that is balanced. Above 120 is actually where buyer's market starts. So you can imagine we've been hot for a super long time right now. That's all we've been experiencing. And below 40, I coined this last year. It's called an insane seller market. That is the new level below 40 days. And look, you're right now below 20, which is just supersonic insane. And where will it go? It will continue to actually get a little bit more insane until about April 1st, until it reverses course and starts to rise a little bit. Still better than last year slightly. But if we have rates that rise, remember, this is where demand diminishes. We have more inventory. We'll actually see market slow. So it'll take a little bit longer to sell the house. And once we get into the spring where more homes start coming on the market in April, this will rise and exceed last year's levels. The only market in all of Southern California that has a higher market time compared to last year at this time is San Bernardino County. And Oceanside right now is at a 19-day expected market time. And remember, my reports, this is pulled right off my report. I give you the number of homes available in each city or area. For San Diego, it has this giant number of areas. So I have the city of San Diego as one thing, but then I have a whole bunch of areas as well that we include. Oceanside's at 19 days. And Carlsbad's at 18 days, and Encinitas is at 15 days. San Marcos is at 17 days. Escondido's at 17 days. Valley Center, the only one that's not in the teens, 35 days. Bonsai, I think I spelled that wrong. I think, or maybe I did. I can't tell.
So one now, yeah.
It's 12 days. And Vista is at 11 days. So you can get the picture. It is really, really, really hot. I see these numbers and I know that home values are absolutely skyrocketing. And as far as seeing an end to this or a top, where this thing is going to slow considerably, I really don't yet see it in any of the numbers or anything I'm tracking. I have hope because interest rates have risen that will slow things down a bit, but not yet in our marketplace. So when will the market slow? The market is going to slow, not in a snap. It won't happen instantaneously. It's not like rates are all of a sudden going to rise like crazy and slow down our market. But that's what it's going to take: rising rates. If we get rising rates, like I told you, a little bit more than where we are today, we will go from 130 miles per hour and shift to 70 miles per hour, which is like a much more normal market. The impact on affordability, you can see 2.65%. We were there the first week of January of last year. And if you wanted 20% down and $3,000 per month principal and interest payment, you were looking at a $930,000 house back in January of last year. If you, at the end of December, we were just about 3%. That was 890,000. We're right now at near 4%. That's a $785,000 house. You can see what's happened. If you get to 4.25, it's now at 762.5. You could afford a $930,000 house January of last year. Now you can afford a $762,500 house. And values have gone up 18% in the last year. So the impact of rising rates are demand drops. If rates rise enough, we get demand drops because there's some home buyers are going to say, forget about it. And sellers typically want more. And so return of the overpriced homes that sit because they're overpricing, these sellers that want more. Inventory rises and market times rise as well. Since demand falls, inventories rise, market times rise. And there's not as many multiple offers and price appreciation slows. And know that it's still going up. It's just on the backs of we will be doing fewer transactions if this happens. But that's the only thing that's going to slow down our market. Markets will go from insane to a regular seller's market. So still a regular seller's market. We will still do transactions. It's just not going to be as robust as 2021. And I have an example of this, and this is in the latest report that I'm writing right now. I haven't even done this yet for San Diego County. I'm in the midst of doing this after this presentation. And you can see this is where interest rates have been, and this is Orange County. I'm just giving you an idea of what happens over time. And I'll have this updated for San Diego County for the next time I have a presentation. But you can see in 2013, we were here before, interest rates rose from 3 3/8% all the way up to over 4.5%. And as a result, the listing inventory rose, and it rose from just over 3,000 homes to over 6,000 homes. That's what we need for our inventory to at least double from where it is today, or perhaps even triple because it's at such low levels. And you can see the dotted yellow line are interest rates so far. The dotted green line were interest rates in 2013. So we are already going up quite a bit. We just need to go up just a tad more for this to really have that kind of effect that I'm looking for. And that will create more homes on the market. The market will slow down. It will take 4% plus interest rates in order to get there. And we have to stay there. It has to stay there with staying power for it to affect our market. So as far as forbearance is concerned, know that unemployment is going to be back this year. It's going to be back to where we were prior to COVID. And that was already a problem prior to COVID. I was talking about it prior to COVID, that we had too many jobs compared to the number of workers available, and it was creating a lot of pressure on jobs. That's already back. We actually have 0.7 workers, job seekers for every job opening, and they're taking their time, but unemployment is going to get back to where it was prior to COVID in a very short period of time compared to where we were in prior downturns. So as far as forbearance is concerned, forbearance continues to drop on a weekly basis and definitely on a monthly basis. It's down to 836,000. This is courtesy of Black Knight. 93% of these 836,000 have at least 10% plus equity, which means they can sell if they're still in a pickle. And 4.3 million were in June of 2020. That was the height of the number of people in forbearance. Yet 7.9 million people took advantage of forbearance. That's how many homeowners took advantage of it. What happened to these people? Well, Black Knight does this great study. 7 million exited forbearance. 4.1 million, 59% are performing, means they went to the workout unit, came up with a plan to either pay it in one lump sum, pay it by a payment plan, or defer it to the end of the loan. That's 59%. Another 30% paid off their mortgage altogether. So now you're looking at 89% that are either performing or paid off. There's another 7%, 469,000 that are delinquent and working with the workout unit, meaning they just recently came out of forbearance. They work at the workout unit to figure out, are they going to perform by paying their loan, or are they going to sell their house? Now, the number of people that are no longer working with the workout unit and are having problems and are delinquent right now are 263,000. That's only 4% across the United States. The number that are in foreclosure currently across the United States from forbearance, 59,000. That is it. That is the number of foreclosures across the United States. That is a drop in the bucket compared to where we were prior to the pandemic. And delinquency rate, you can see people use this chart all the time in YouTube land to talk about the next crash. They're not putting this chart up there now. This exact chart was what they used. And now it's down to 3.38% is the national delinquency rate, which we're making our way back to where we were prior to the pandemic, which was at like a 50-year low. So we're making our way back down to that as far as delinquencies are concerned. And that's because homeowners have a ton of equity. They have a ton of equity. That's what this chart means. The most amount of equity on record. And so there's not going to be a wave of foreclosures. It's just not going to happen. Affordability is becoming a little bit of an issue. This actually came out this morning. This is a new slide. This is Case-Shiller National Composite Index, and we're at 18.8% through December. That is the amount of appreciation in a year. We're still elevated, way too high. That's what the national index is. I'd like to see this thing come back down to 5% like it did in 2014. We sung up there in 2013, came back down to 5% because we had higher rates. And I understand that values are very, very high. And I understand that there's a lot of homes now that sell for $1 million plus, and that's becoming like a tract home, right? $1 million plus tract home. Who would have thought that that's what was going to happen? So people are going, my gosh, this just doesn't seem right. It's got to crash. But you know what, people, we're not going to crash. The market's not going to crack, and it's not a bubble. The affordability takes into account not only price. What a lot of people ignore, the masses out there that are ignoring, is that incomes have been on the rise since prior to the Great Recession. They've risen considerably, and interest rates have dropped considerably from where they have been in the past. For perspective, in 1970, the median sales price in all of Southern California was at $23,000, and the median household income was $9,870 per year. I didn't want to round that to 10,000 because that really makes the point that we weren't making a lot. 30-year fixed rates were at 8.5%. Flash forward to 1990 in San Diego County, we're at $183,000 for the median sales price. The median household income was at $33,000. The 30-year fixed rate was at 10%. In 2006, prior to the Great Recession, median price was at $602,000. Median household income was at $59,000, and the 30-year fixed rate was at 6.4%. Now, I know that this next slide, median price is going to be higher, but check out what happens with incomes and rates. So median price is at $875,000. This is taken directly off of CAR for detached homes for January of 2022, last month. The median household income has risen to $91,000. These are projections, by the way, but it's projected to be $91,000 this year. 30-year fixed rate is at 3.92%. way lower than where we were prior to the pandemic. You can understand. So you have to take into consideration all of them. I do, and I look to see where we are in time, and it's not like it was prior to the Great Recession. This is a national payment to income ratio, and know that it's been going up. That's the blue line. It's almost 26% across the United States of monthly income is devoted to servicing mortgage debt. And one more thing, and then we will get to the a little bit of the of my forecast for the rest of the year. This California exodus. There has been an exodus. UC System did a big study, and that is entrances and exits. They did 2 studies. They did one towards the middle of the year, that was in July, and then they did one in December. And the one in December was so revealing, because this is what happened. This was July. What they were showing is that over time, that the number of exits was going up. But yet, so were the entrances. The number of exits were exceeding the entrances, but barely, not by a ton. Then COVID hit, and the number of exits diminished. But then after, towards when COVID lockdowns were removed, a lot of people started exiting California in droves, and the number of entrances have dropped considerably, especially since COVID. As a matter of fact, this is San Diego County. This is the number of exits, Q3 of 2021, 31,384. That was up 8.1% compared to the first quarter of 2020. The number of entrances is 13,819. That was down 39% since the first quarter of 2020. The number of net entrances down 17,565. That's 180% change just about. So know that there are a lot of people fleeing, and I could do this for every single county pretty much in California, and it's the same. So what's happening, and this is my take on what's happening. This is the amount of equity that people gained in the last year. This is year-over-year equity gain for 2021. And in California, we're at 119,000, the #1 state. As a matter of fact, we have more equity rich, meaning more people that have 50% plus equity than anybody else. So what people are doing is they're taking their equity, selling their houses, and moving, because they have a ton of equity. I showed you this chart where it's the highest amount of equity on record. And people are, percentage of San Diego the number of people that are moving to San Diego. This is the percentage of San Diegans where they are moving to. #1 is LA, which is hard to believe. #1 is LA, and then Bay Area and a whole bunch of others. But I wanted to point that out, that you guys are moving to LA, San Diego County more than anybody else. Guess what? The #1 entrances is from into San Diego is from LA to San Diego at 39%. So it's like swapping, right? But now, where are people exiting? Because there's been a lot of exits and not a lot of entrances. Where are they exiting? San Diegans are going to Seattle, Washington, Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Texas, Las Vegas, Portland, Nashville, Washington, Houston, Austin, New York. It sounds like everything where you hear everybody going to. And so how will 2022 play out? Well, frustrated buyers, motivated by low rates, but not as willing to stretch as the year progresses. So buyers are going to have a frustrating time. They're stretching right now, but as this year progresses, it's going to subside, especially with these higher rates, if the higher rates continue. As rates rise, sellers will not get away with overpricing in the second half of this year. They're going to get away with it the first half of this year, but realize that the second half of the year, you better have sellers that are priced on the money. And rates will be between 3.25% and 4%. Like I said, would I like for them to be a little bit higher than 4%? Yes, I would, because it would slow our market down enough where we could catch our breath, but I'm not betting on it right now. Available homes ultra low until the second half of the year. So the second half of the year, we'll see more homes come on the market. Demand down slightly year over year. We've already seen that in the numbers. Total sales down 5 to 10% compared to 2021. I had to revise this because there's this new thing where there are fewer and fewer homeowners coming on the market. This is a new trend, and I think it's going to be here to stay. We'll continue to monitor it, but I think it's going to translate to fewer sales, down 5 to 10% compared to 2021. Values rise between 8 and 10% because we still have that scarcity of product, and I know that values are rising. Distress rises slightly, but no wave. And luxury continues to soar, but slightly muted compared to 2021 as the year progresses. So luxury doesn't like volatility. There's going to be more volatility this year, and it's going to affect luxury down the road. And normal housing cycles. will follow normal housing cycles. Go to reportsonhousing.com, click on subscribe, and you'll get the most recent report, or the one that's actually coming out later today. And we'll at the bottom of every report, there's just a bunch of ways to print it out, copy, cut, edit, paste, add your logo. That's Word form. There's Excel spreadsheets, social media posts, infographics, tons of charts, excerpts for internet and all that stuff. Comes out every 2 weeks. $15 per month or $150 per year. You get a month free if you use the coupon code North County. I do have a housing debrief. I go live on Facebook and YouTube. Reports on Housing, that's my handle. Just go there, 3 p.m. You can watch some of my old stuff on YouTube, and go to YouTube. I prefer you watch it on YouTube, and like and subscribe so that I can get the numbers up and get my information out there to a lot of people, so that we can kind of like refute a lot of the misinformation that's out there. So now I can open it up to any questions that anybody has. And I don't know if I see anything in the Q&A.
What a wealth of information. Thank you so much.
Yes. Sorry for the fire hose of information, but
no, yeah, it was a lot. It's a replay. And don't worry, you had Bonzel correct. It does look like, we have one new message here. Oh, great job. Yeah, so much information. It's hard to come up with a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and fire away. Otherwise, we do have one in the Q&A. Great presentation. Oh, that's what you read.
you kind of covered everything.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a fire hose of information, but it's kind of like you want to know what's going on, and that's what I like to deliver. Is it's what you feel out in the marketplace. It's what you're feeling right now today. Everybody's feeling, and you want to put a verbiage to it. So I write these reports in layman's terms.
Just to answer your question, yes, this will be. This is being recorded, and it will likely be out later today, if not tomorrow at the latest.
So my reports don't read like a fire hose of information. I tackle one topic. And this one that we're doing today is, I showed you the one for Orange County, and I'll have it for San Diego County, what it looks like as far as the inventory and what interest rates have done so far, and what it's going to take in order for us to see more inventory.
And how long are your segments on Fridays?
Typically about the first two, because I went dormant for the holidays. So we're a little bit longer. The first one was about 40 minutes. Then the second one was really 30 minutes. And then I had a lot of Q&A after that one. So there's a lot of people asking questions and answers for about 10 minutes. But I'm trying to keep them down to about 25 minutes. But I do have my children interrupting me. I allow them to do that. They come in and they do their own little thing and say hi to the masses. It's a lot of fun.
And does it just kind of cover the state? Can you send a link to
that one? I cover all of Southern California. I haven't branched off. We have a Bay Area report that will start in June, because that's where I'll hit my 1 year mark as far as data is concerned.
For Jason, the link to sign up, I had included it in the chat box along with the coupon code for reference. And I do not believe the recording will be emailed to you, but you could definitely go on NSDCR's social media page and pick it up. Yeah,
so know that it's reports on housing. You can even misspell and put report on housing. You'll still get to reportsonhousing.com, and North County is your is your coupon code for a month free.
So I'll place the link in there again. You scroll up, though, it has the link as well as the coupon code. North County is one word for the coupon code.
Okay.
Great, reliable info. Love your approach, and keep the info coming. Helps us see through the noise. Yeah. Definitely agree, Kevin. Wow. It doesn't look like there's much for questions.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's definitely consensus of an incredible amount of information and very valuable. So we really, really thank you for your time, Stephen.
So absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. Sorry for the scare. I came on like 1 minute beforehand.
We were getting a little nervous, not gonna lie. No, we definitely weren't worried that you weren't going to show up. So thank you for being here so much. And yes, like everybody keeps saying, very valuable. So we appreciate your time.
You betcha. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.